Hi everybody, I'm live streaming today from Athens, Tennessee. It's just a beautiful, beautiful day out here. So I thought I would see today and come on outside and live stream from here. So my channel is all about encouragement, encouraging you to go places and do things, to live bodaciously, go out and have fun. And so part of that is coming out and just making the most of every day you can and enjoying the sunshine, the friendship that we have through the channel, and just really just enjoying life. It's just way too short not to have fun. So usually we have a topic, and usually on Thursdays we talk about, but not this Thursday. This Thursday we're just going to talk. We're going to hang out. Let's see. I see a couple of people are in here. Skinny G Panda. Hi and welcome. And we've got Spider-Man the Hero. So thank you guys for both coming in the stream. I'm super excited also to have Skinny G Panda. Because it's such a lovely, lovely day. I am glad you both get to come and hang out. So this is summer. Do you guys have a lot of great plans for summer? I know with me, I plan on being outside what I can. Okay. And it's a real treat for me to be outside because before I had surgery 2 years ago, there was like no way I could be out, especially if it was going to be hot. Hey Skinny G, I'm glad that it's not raining there today. And Spider-Man's working. Okay, that's always a good plan to work. Those paychecks really help. As for me, I've gone to YouTube full time now. Just thought I'd make that announcement today. So I'm real excited to do that. It's such a major life change, to know that I get to do this full time, and I am blessed. And we've got Patreon that's going to be coming next month. I'm just excited as I can be about that. Tanya's in the house. Hello, Tanya Lambert. Oh, Skinny G Panda, you're pretending to work. Okay. Angel Muniz, hey, love you too. I'm glad you could come in. And Melissa's here. Hi, Melissa. Melissa Severinson's in the house. It's working, the live stream. Okay. I'm glad it's working. It's such a bummer when it doesn't. So we've already got a great crowd today. And I want to, I'm getting some likes. Thank you for all the likes. That really helps. The likes, the comments, the being involved. YouTube looks at the likes, so everybody that gives me that big thumbs up, it's appreciated. Everybody that comes in, you're appreciated. Joe Kersey, hi, welcome. Always good to see you. Guys, if you don't know Joe, he is like one of the nicest people on the planet. Thank you for Tanya. Melissa, you missed the announcement. Did you catch it on Facebook? Because I put it in the vlogs, Gayle Vlogs, our Facebook group. Gayle, are you doing anything special for your Patreon supporters? I usually like to give support when funds allow. Yes, actually, Skinny G. Some of the things that we're looking at are things like you'll get a postcard every month from somewhere that I'm going. So I usually find someplace every month to go. So for the lower level of subscription, that's what we're going to do. For $20 a month, we're actually looking at doing a twice a year magazine, which I am super stoked about. So I haven't gotten beyond that yet as far as final plans, but that's what I'm looking at. And it looks like and if you're like that second tier, it's going to be about $20 a month. And for that second tier, you'll also get the postcards. So should be kind of fun. And Melissa says, I'll go look, LOL. I've been working too much and can't keep up. Oh, girl, I completely understand that. And Tanya says that would be neat. And Skinny G says, sounds good so far. Drop the link on a video content when you're set up and I'll check it out. Okay, I'll do that. Because I'm really excited. We're looking at doing a kickoff party special online to really launch the Patreon. And so I'm super stoked about it. When we do the launch party, we're also going to have some giveaways and some fun stuff like that. So it should be, I am so stoked about it. And let's see. Spider-Man the Hero says, sorry, I missed the live stream on Sunday. I fell asleep waiting for you. I was here just a couple of minutes after 9. It always takes me a couple of minutes to get everything set up. And Tanya says it sounds like a good thing. I hope so. Like I said, I am just super stoked about the whole thing, the kickoff, the Patreon, just everything. Because I'm going to use the Patreon funds to not just help fund, being out places, but to help me have some set time and maybe even a person to help me get folks scheduled for Sunday nights. We do Overcoming Obstacles. This Sunday I have got coming on at 9, I've got a young woman named Cassandra, and she's getting used to being a university student. She's transitioned from a community college to going away to school at a university. So talking to her and some of her struggles, and I'm going to be having her that Sunday at 9, and then the following Sunday, oh my gosh, we have Granny Monster coming on. So if you guys caught the live stream I did on Coach Eli's channel, you heard some about Granny Monster's story, and so I'm really looking forward to her being on because she's been through an incredible, life-changing, a hugely life-altering experience. So we're going to talk to her about that on Sunday. And Jeff and John, I think we can be friends. Thank you. I'm going to check out your channel right after this live stream. Melissa says, gotta go. I'll catch you on Facebook. Please do, Melissa. Thank you for coming in. Carry on Jeff and John says, we've not been getting your notifications. Do you get any of ours? No, I have not been getting your notifications. Another good reason to go back and check out your channel. So I'm a little behind on checking everybody, so I'll get to that. If you have not been getting my notifications, something you can do, Facebook, Gayle Vlogs is the group name, so you can come join me over there. Always glad to see folks there. And if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter, and that's at Gayle Crabtree, GayleCrabtree. I'm also on Instagram, picking that up. Just now learning how to use Instagram TV, but I'm over there at Gayle Crabtree 1. So follow me over there. Twitter, Facebook, they're primary. I actually now announce things a little earlier on the Facebook group than I do everywhere else. And that ranges from a few minutes to a couple of days. So yeah, check me out there. And Joe says he's been cocooning a bit, so I too am a bit behind on my YouTube fun. Yeah, it's hard to stay caught up. Especially, I don't know how the big YouTubers do it. I guess I'll worry about that if I ever get there. So, yeah. And thank you guys again for the likes. So, now tell me, how is everyone doing that's in the chat room? Because like I said, Thursdays we usually talk about travel, but not this Thursday. We're just going to hang out. And like I said, I'm out at a park. It was just too pretty a day to be cooped up. Tanya says she's doing better. I am so glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that because you have been too sick too long. The Midnight Raven just came in. Hi, Midnight. Glad to see you on the live stream. So we're just hanging out. Yeah, you were pretty sick for a while, Tanya, and I am glad you are better. Joe Kersey says, I suppose it's a good problem to have, but so many folks seem to have a bit of personality transition around 2,000 subs. Not the better either, usually. Ugh. If I do that, Joe, you can yell at me. Because I try to be the same whether I'm on YouTube or out speaking to a group. I just try to be me. So yeah, let me know. And my daughter's good to let me know too. Thank you. Carry on, Jeff and John says, awesome like you, darling. Thank you. And Tanya says, thanks, Joe and Gayle. But yeah, Joe, I mean, I'm not kidding about that. So if you notice a big personality change or something, just say so. There may be some growing pains somewhere along the way, but you know, whether I'm speaking to a group and I've spoken in jails and I've done large trainings and I've done like Lincoln Memorial and stuff like that, but I always try to be the same. I always try to be me. In fact, I got in trouble for that when I worked for a nonprofit, because I was the same with all my clients, which kind of didn't make some of the board members happy. So, because you know, I guess you feel like you deserve special treatment if you're donating, and I get that, but I also get that people are people at our core. So anyway, that's a soapbox for another day. Okay. Joe says, I'll ask John to give you a flick on the ear. It always worked with my son. Okay. That, I can see where that would work. So yeah, go ahead. And Joe says, I became a real toad when I crossed 100. Really? I kind of doubt that. Although it is kind of neat, you know, to like on this, like I never dreamed that I'd have anybody following me like at all. So I think that's pretty cool. And Tanya says that jails scare her. Yeah, it can be really intimidating the first time or a couple of times that you go into a jail to speak to a group. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be in like since middle school, but that's also another thing. But yeah, when you go in and they take all your things, of course they have your, you know, they know about your ID and stuff, and they take all your things except what's allowed, which usually, at least in my case, it's a Bible, because I'm going in, you know, when I go in, you know, to do a Bible study or with a religious group. And sometimes they will let you in with pencils, but most of the time the jails like to count those going in and count those when you leave and make sure you have all the pencils that you're supposed to. But when those doors slam, it can be a little intimidating. But if you're going to go in to help, it's also good to remember that those doors are slamming for your protection also. So, and you're surrounded by guards. So, it's not, the first time it can be a little off-putting, but after that, it's not nearly so bad. Plus, you know, you go in there and you're going in there to help people, so that helps. But really, the neatest thing is like later when you're at Walmart or somewhere and somebody comes up and they say, hey, you spoke at my jail, or you spoke at my women's shelter, or you spoke at my transition home, and my life is better. there is like, that's just a really special feeling to know that something that you said or did, even if it's just, you know, just for a minute, that helped make somebody's life better. That's pretty cool. So that really helps too. And Joe says, yay, worthiness human being after that. Worthless human being after that. Aw, I kind of doubt that. Carry On Jeff and John says, let's all rock together and be awesome together. Fabulous. So I can totally get behind that. Tanya says, I have to go into a prison when I get my service dog for the inmates that train the dogs to say bye. Not looking forward to this. Tanya, there are guards there to keep you safe, okay? The thing about people who work with service dogs is that their lives change because of a dog. And they're not going to put dogs with people that they think are going to do anything mean to them at all. And so those are not the people that you have to worry about, okay? There's actually some really nice people in jail. I know that sounds crazy, okay? But, you know, you may have somebody in jail that's messed up once or twice, and they may be in for something that's not like assault or anything like that. And those people are the ones whose lives you may be able to change through allowing them to say goodbye to the service dog. I was really surprised the first time I went in jail. I thought everybody was going to be major offenders. There's probably a term for that, but most of the ones that were in there when I was there had been involved with drugs. They had been involved with things like DUI. One person was in there for bad checks. So it's not like you're in there with people that have done assault, battery, robbery, things like that. So I hope that helps just a little bit. But yeah, it's a different kind of thing. Joe Kersey says, kind of like TSA security check, no shanks allowed. That may be. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take your word for that because I drive. I am not putting my dog in the hands of any airline. I am driving. I'll make the exception in case there's like this really horrible problem that suddenly drops out of the sky. But short of that, I'm gonna be in the car, or maybe Hawaii. I might work something out if I ever go to Hawaii. But back up here, Joe Kersey says, a man at our church visits at prison north of us every week for years. Truly a magnificent act of love. Yeah, it is. That's to be admired. We need more people like that in the world, you know? If we have more people like that, then maybe we'll have fewer people actually in prison. Now, wouldn't that be nice? And Tanya says, my grandpa used to preach at a prison. I would have me call him when he got home due to my worries. And Tanya, that's always a great idea to have family check in with you. But try not to worry too much about going in, at least about going in this time. The first time, like I said, it scared me to pieces. But beyond that, it wasn't so bad because there were guards and you're safe. And yeah, it just wasn't really that bad after the first time. Joe says, I did anesthesia on prisoners for about 3 years, and the scary ones were armed robbers. The murderers, not at all. Interesting. That's real interesting. Joe says the guards were scary too. I didn't have that experience, but I was in kind of a small town. We had a high crime rate, so we had some challenges with our jail. I'll just say that, and but not with the inmates and not with the guards. It was the facility. The guards guards to us were really nice. I don't know how they would be for someone in your position or another position, but at least the ones that I had contact with have no problems. They were all really nice. And Joe Kersey says drops out of the sky says it's it all. Yeah, that's like the only way I'm gonna put my dog in the hands of TSA. Next time I go to Alaska, I'm gonna drive again. So that'll be coming up. Don't have to worry about that until next summer. And Carry On Jeff and John says, nice live stream, darling. Carry on, Jeff and John. You are so nice. Thank you for saying that. And Tanya says, this will be the first time going into a prison. In that case, Tanya, what I suggest that you do is talk with the agency ahead of time and ask them what you should expect. Now, they're probably going to prep you anyway, but just talk to them, okay? But just remember, the super bad guys are not the ones they're going to trust a dog to. There's got to be some spark there, some possibility of getting through and turning their lives around, because they're not going to trust something sweet and defenseless to somebody big and bad, okay? And Joe says, one of our deacons works in the prison, and she will occasionally preach about the transformation that a loving Christian approach produces. Yeah, it can be amazing. Tanya says, Mom and I were joking about going to hide behind it. Okay. I get that. But just ask them, get prepped about what to expect. I bet you're going to do fine. And keep reminding yourself, too, that the reason you're there is to get a service dog that can help you be you. So, I guess in that sense, service dogs probably help us out of our prisons. Yeah. I hear some equipment. I hope it doesn't come close. So what else have you guys got on your minds? I know it sounds like Carry On Jeff and John are here for networking. Joe and Tanya are here because they're friends. Thank you. And let's see. Going back, I see Tanya left a note. Let me see. Scroll up. And Tanya says, I hope they don't make me remove my braces. That takes a little bit of time, LOL. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make you do that. I really don't. So, yeah, I'm trying to decide. I was not in a brace when I went to prison, but one of the ladies at one of the jails that I went into did have a walking stick, and I'm pretty sure she got to keep that. I don't remember her not keeping it, and I think that would be something that would stick into my mind. But again, talk to them and get prepped up. Okay. And I really appreciate you guys being my friends and coming out to hang out today. It means a lot. And I think I'm going to have to go in a few minutes because I think I hear some equipment heading this way. Hopefully not, but we'll see. So, I never know for sure what the phone's going to pick up and what it's not. Tanya says, I will speak to them. You are a great friend. Oh, I think you're a great friend, but thank you. And do speak to them. Because that day will be here before you know it. And Joe has a service dog that's at his church, and he speaks well of that service dog too. So we all have that kind of shared bond there. Ooh, Joe says he has steel shank supported shoes, and they made him take them off. Okay. That's good to know. So yeah, Tanya, check. Yay, there's Granny Monsters in the house. Granny, I was just telling them a while ago that you're going to be on the live stream that first Sunday in August. Really looking forward to it. Joe, I'm glad Daphne is fantastic. Service dogs are supposed to be. So it's always good to hear a service dog living up to hopes and expectations. Yeah. Tanya says, good to know, we'll not put them on that day. And she's talking about the braces. Okay. Go ahead and maybe plan on not wearing them since Joe had to take his off. But I would still encourage you to go ahead and double check just in case. And Granny Monster says that she's looking forward to the live stream too, and that we'll have fun and most likely a little bit of mischief. Chuckle. Now, Granny, do you think two girls like us is ever going to get into mischief? I think my halo slipped. Tanya says, I'm ecstatic to get my service dog. Girl, I know you are. It's something to be ecstatic about. That's like all your hopes and dreams, you know, in this giant bundle of fluffy love. Absolutely. And Granny, it was good to do the live stream with you on Coach E live stream the other day. So, I'm glad to have had that opportunity. Let's see. And Granny says, congrats, Miss Tanya Lambert. That's wonderful to read. And Tanya says, it took me 3 years to pay for it and on the waiting list. But the thing is, when you go to an agency and you get a service dog like that, you're more likely to have one that is going to be able to continue to be a service dog, because the burnout rates on owner-trained service dogs are very, very high, and the failure rate is very, very high. With an agency, you've got a lot of support and a lot of people backing you, and that's what it takes. It just makes a difference, because if you have a question and you're with an agency, I understand that you can call them if you need fine-tuning on how you're working with your dog years down the road. You can call them, and all that really helps. I was fortunate to have a really great trainer, and he was just wonderful for things like that. And let's see, Granny Monster says, me too. Side note, I'm trying to get a pal to help their much needed animal. Okay, tell you what, send me information on that. If you don't have my email address, if you don't remember that, it's Gayle, Gayle, at GayleCrabtree.com. I think it's in the description box. Shoot me an email. I can always blog it in addition to maybe vlogging about it. So, yeah. Yeah, that would be great. And yeah, that equipment's getting a little closer. I don't know if you can hear the lawnmowers. But yeah, Granny, I thought it was a good stream. From those of you guys who don't know, Granny and I were on Coach Eli's stream about feminism the other day. And guess what? You guys are not going to believe this, but we all survived. That is a true testament. Okay. And Tanya says, CARES has been great. And that's the agency she's going to get her service animal, which is awesome. And Granny says, okay, if I should run into snafus, I will ship you an email. Do that. That will be great. Or tweet me on a direct message. But email for this may be better because of the details. You can put those in, and then I can blog it. For you guys who don't know, my blog is, guess what? GayleCrabtree.com. Easy to remember, right? And Tanya is saying that they are in Concordia, Kansas. That, again, is where she's getting her service animal, which is really, really, really exciting. I'm stoked about that. Because it is astounding the difference that a service animal can make in your life. You know, I can't explain it any other way, but to have that kind of security that if something happens, you'll have help is a big deal. Tanya says, any advice on what to look for in a good hotel? You can sometimes check out safety ratings if you know a little bit about what area the hotel is going to be in. There again, I would encourage you to talk to your agency because they may have something special worked out. And if they don't, they may know where some other people are staying. So it's kind of like, I would look at it as kind of like going to a conference. You know, check with them and find out those details. You may also want to check Airbnb and see what there is in that area that might afford you a little bit of a longer term place than a daily stay hotel. I would also suggest, you know, a lot of hotels have the micro fridges where they have a microwave and refrigerator, but believe it or not all hotels do. We ran into a couple as we were going to Alaska, and that was really frustrating. So check on that and take a few things with you because that'll help with the food costs. And any coupons that you have that are like a national coupon, for example, if you get one that's like buy one, get one half at Ruby Tuesday, that's going to be good at any Ruby Tuesday. Okay, unless it says on the coupon that it's specific to a particular location, you can use those. Of course, gift cards, you can use those. So, okay, you have to stay for 8 days. All right, in that case, I would check with the agency first and find out if they've got special rates. If not, ask them where other people are staying that come in and see if you can work something out. If you can't, then look at the, I would say look at the ratings for the hotels online and see if you can work something out with a hotel that's got a better rating. That may be helpful. But Airbnb, you may be able to get a place for the whole week. So check there too. And of course, if you have AAA, they might be able to help you out with some of this legwork. Okay. I hope you do film the adventures. I really do. And then I hope you share them somewhere online so we can all see. And let's see, Granny Monster, scrolling up here, says, I'm ashamed to admit I also check on room service prices. Hey, a gal eat. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't usually check on room service, but I do sometimes call the front desk and ask who's got the cheapest food. So, oh, and if you like Chinese, Tanya, a lot of times the Chinese restaurants will pack so much in the meals that you've got like breakfast, lunch, and dinner the next day. I kid you not. So, and of course, there's always pizza. And some places I don't know about Concordia. I'd have to look. But if there's something called restaurant taxi, that may be an option. They'll actually go to the restaurant, pick up the food, and bring it to you. So those may help too. Okay. I forgot about that, Tanya. Problem with food, since my surgery, I only eat 4 ounces of food at a time, and I have to eat 5 times a day. I forgot about that. Can you do protein shakes? And Tanya says, the one hotel I like is $98 a night, and that she plans on uploading her videos. Call that hotel and tell them what you're doing and see what you can work out. We were actually, when my daughter was little, I had to go to Atlanta for medical care for her, and we were doing testing. And the hotel, we were able to work out an incredible price, because what we did was we worked it out with the hotel that we just wouldn't have room service, and we would just bring our own towels. And so they were able to give us that whole week for the cost of one night. I don't know if hotels still do that or not. She was a baby, and so she's kind of an adult now. But call and ask. It never hurts to make that phone call. You will need to talk with a manager, though. Make sure when you call that you do ask for a manager, because that's not something a hotel desk clerk can authorize. And Tanya says, no, I have to use protein pills. Shakes make me ill. Okay. So in that case, I would stock up on those before going. You know, just to help you with the cost. The other thing is the convenience. If you can have something in your room, or maybe, and Granny Monster can maybe tell me on this, I don't usually do room service, but Granny, or I haven't in a very, very long time. But Granny, can you order from room service and set a specific time for them to deliver, like you can with like some restaurants? And Granny says, oh, let me see. Granny says, also, if you're on YouTube and you can make enough phone calls, you can see if they'll give a rate in exchange for a review of their establishment. I know other content creators who do it. Yeah, when I was working for Yahoo Contributor Network, we used to do that quite frequently. And honestly, the only place that ever turned me down on that was the place where I needed it the most, which was, yeah, I had the opportunity to go back there one time and didn't because of that. And Tanya says, I will do that, but has to wait until I get my date in October. That's a good one. And Tanya says, thanks, Granny. And Granny says, yes, you can ask for foods at certain scheduled times. So see, Tanya, that also may help. I don't know, Joe. It may be worth a shot. Joe says maybe you could get a break at the Radisson I like in Durham, UK. It never, I mean, there again, it doesn't hurt to ask. Phone calls, emails, they don't cost much. And Joe says, I love to review hotels. It's fun, isn't it? Sometimes you have to get with them ahead of time, and they'll tell you what photos to take and what they want you to cover. You just have to hope that what they want you to cover is actually good. Otherwise, you got to go back and renegotiate. Tanya says, that'll help bunches. And Joe said, yep. And yeah. Basically, anything that you can work out to get a discount is going to help. Tanya says, never thought about reviewing the hotel. Yep. And something else you may be able to work out. I don't know if the hotel would want to go for this, but you can talk to the manager or talk to the owner and see if they would let you maybe stay at the hotel in exchange for talking to the news media, if you're comfortable with that, and get them some publicity that way about their hotel, because it looks to me like it would be a great public interest story to talk about someone coming in from out of town who is getting her service dog. That might be something. Granny Monster says, what does she say? I lost you, Granny. Hold on. If it's not an urgent state and you know you have enough ahead of time, you can do a ton of research and get the best deal. Sadly, many folks needing to travel is done with some senses of urgency. And, and Granny, you've got a good point on that. Take your time, research, you know. And don't ever be afraid of negotiating at any hotel. I was at an Embassy Suites in North Carolina one time. We arrived very, very late at night. It was almost midnight. It was my husband, my daughters, my grandmother, and I'll go in and I'm like, what can you do for me? Because this is my situation. We got a half price room just by negotiating with them. And another time that I got a great deal was when we were going through and we were going across southern Mississippi, southern Louisiana. And did I say that with a sweat? Anyway, I hope my twang wasn't showing too much. Anyway, it was later in the evening that we wanted, and I called, and the hotel was like $140 a night, and I was like, I can't go over $100, and they're like, 100 will be fine. So you never know what you can work out. You know, just do your research and make those calls. That's all you can do. And you might be surprised something really nice could happen. And Granny says, oh, that's a great idea, Gayle. Okay. Whichever idea I had, I'm glad it's a great one. Even a stopped clock is right twice a day, right? Let's see. Tanya says, not going to be completely comfortable in front of cameras. Okay. Some people are and some people aren't. And Joe says, I've been in this hotel 6 times in 3 years. And for Tanya, it's an absolute no-brainer about a news story getting her service dog. Yeah, you know, if you think that you can work it out, I mean, maybe the hotel could just get shots of you or a couple of comments. It may be worth talking, you know, working out. Joe says, love your twang, twang away, Gayle. Aw. Yeah, sometimes it pops out. You know, the funny thing is, I'm a half Yankee and half Southern. So if I've been talking to my Northern family, sometimes I have a Northern accent. And then most of the time it's that Southern twang. And Granny Monster on this live stream is saying, how about radio interviews? You know, that might be a possibility too. Oh, Granny's got a good one about even offering to write a piece for the local paper. That might be really good. Or, you know, they may have a reporter or a freelancer that would be willing to come out to the hotel and talk to you, and that can be a lot less stress. Also, if you go on the news, they'll usually lead you through what they want you, the questions that they want you to answer, and they always talk to you beforehand so you won't be surprised by any of the questions, which I found to be very helpful. So, but yeah, the piece for the paper, the radios, those are all great ideas. Let's see. I keep losing people on the live stream here. Okay. Tanya says, the company suggested a B&B, but the lady was really mean when I asked for a room and not to be put in with a group due to my disability. Ooh, yeah, don't stay there unless you can absolutely have to. Because if they're going to be mean on the phone, they're going to be mean when you get there, and ain't nobody got no time for that. Tanya says, now I love to write. Go for it. You know, give it a whirl. And you don't have to necessarily have a large paper, you know, even a smaller paper. Sometimes they can get a more, strategic coverage, let's just say that. And Joe says, I'm sensing Granny is very media savvy. Me too. And Granny, maybe that's something we can talk about too on that Sunday night. And Joe says something. Joe, what do you say? Where'd you go? Oh, Joe says, mean is horrible and uncalled for. Could not agree with you more. You know, little bit of kindness. That's what makes the world go around. And Granny says, Joe, chuckle. I've been on or in a few forms of media. That's great. Because that puts you in a great position to help think of things that can help Tanya. At least it's great most of the time. There are moments with media. And Tanya says, that's why I was looking at hotels, but 2 of the 3 have had bad reviews. Look at Airbnb. They may have something. Because Airbnb is where people have a spot that they want to rent out, and there's reviews and things like that. So that might be a really good option for you. And Tanya says, I don't want to put myself and my mom in a bad situation. Yeah, don't blame you. And if you see a hotel price that's super cheap, ask why. Ask yourself why. Because sometimes it's a promotion, but sometimes it's just there's a problem. Okay. And Tanya says, I will check that out. Good for you. Good for you. But the agency was suggesting a B&B. It surprises me that they would be mean to you. But I would put that lower on my list of places to check. Let's see, what's Granny saying? Granny says, I've also called other establishments in around the places I'm staying and ask what they think of the place. Yeah, now that's a good suggestion too. I'd forgotten about that. But yeah, that's a great suggestion. And you always, no matter where you are, you always want to be aware of your personal safety. And if you feel weird, leave, okay? Don't stay around any place that you feel weird. Always better to do that. Obviously with hotels, you want to make sure your door is locked and the little, what do they call that little flippy thing on the door? Anyway, there's a little flippy thing on the door that helps secure the room in addition to the key. Sometimes it's a chain, but most of the time, there's got to be a more technical term than flippy thing. I just can't think of it right now. But do that. Park under a light. Park close to a building. You may have a handicap parking access. If you do, great. Get the one closest to the building. Either want to go closer to the office if it's a building where you enter the front and then go to your room and it's got enclosed corridors, or you want to park closer to your room. Personally, my preference, even if I have to walk across the hotel, is I usually go for close to the office, unless the back is really well lighted or closest to my room is really, really well lighted. Otherwise, I'm up there by that front office. Yeah. Latch. Okay. Yes. Yeah, it would be called a latch. Thank you, Granny Monster. The flippy thing has a new term, latch. Okay. Joe says, great advice about the weirding out. I've been in a number of street situations where I've just gotten out of Dodge without further thought, and it's always stood me in good stead. Yeah, that's the thing. Your instincts God gave us these instincts for a reason, and when we don't listen to them, whoops, my phone's ringing. Um, when we don't listen to our instincts, that's when we often can get into trouble. So, if you feel weird in a situation, and I'm not talking about just hotel, but any situation. Um, so, oh, something else too that I pay attention to when I'm driving through town is if I'm in an area of town where the bail bondsmen are advertising on the park benches, I tend not to stay in that length of town, in that part of town. Or if I see a lot of newspapers on the park benches consistently, that may be some signs that the homeless are going to sleep under the benches or on the benches. So I tend to skip that part of town. And Tanya says, the lady at the Band B has a basement she made into a group room with many beds. I have non-combat PTSD and so don't do crowds well. Plus the way I can't walk in a crowded room due to my CP. Yeah, all I can say is keep making those calls, and you never know what's going to come up. But stay optimistic, okay? And Joe says, Joe's around here somewhere. Okay, Joe says, yep, sometimes it's just time to leave. Love the bail bond tip. Yeah, because when you're in an area that's kind of questionable, that seems to be one of the things that is a good marker. Because the bail bondsman, okay, any company is going to advertise in an area where they make the most money, okay? So if you're in an area and you see bail bondsmen on the park benches, then that's in an area where it's going to be most profitable for them, and that is usually going to be the less savory parts of town. So yeah, that's my big thing about bail bondsman benches. Can you believe I talked to somebody who's a bail bondsman once? The things that you learn. Granny Monster says, if you're male or female and completely on your own, if you must go out, call the front desk and be asked to walk to your car, or front desk if your space is an outside exposure and not inside the hallway. Absolutely. Absolutely. And some hotels, some of the larger ones will actually have security, and they'll have security escort you. So don't hesitate. Now, I will tell you something to watch out for since you've got mobility issues. I ran into a place this summer and I was so frustrated because I went into the hotel and I was talking to them and I was telling them that I have Tomlin, I have mobility issues, I need a handicap room. They say, okay, we don't have a handicap downstairs. The only rooms we have are upstairs. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, what she meant was up the stairs, not upstairs. So she didn't tell us any of this, and we had loaded down the cart with all of our stuff out of the car, and we're going through the lobby, and I've got Tomlin, and the friend I'm with has got the cart, and we actually walked across the lobby and kind of partially down a hallway before we turned around and went back to the front desk. And she's like, oh, well, yeah, I meant up the stairs. They're right there. I'm like, great. So anyway, we had to work that out, which she helped us carry the stuff up these stairs. But I told her, I'm like, little sign on the front desk saying we don't own an elevator would have been very helpful. And this was a decent hotel chain. It was a Choice Hotels, and it just wasn't happening. So again, if I ever get a chance to stay at that hotel again, you know I'm not going to. And Joe Kersey says, better call Saul. Okay, and Granny says, men might be looked at as easy targets and holding cash, and females can be strong but seen as vulnerable, so stay safe. Excellent points, Granny. Excellent points. And Tanya, I lost Tanya. There's Tanya. Okay, Tanya says my old neighbor was a bail bondsman. And oh no, yeah, it was not cool. And Granny Monster says, drup, 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 see stairs, climb stairs, drup, 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 LOL. Yeah. And she was like, well, you have a service dog. And I'm like, yeah, but his job is to help me up the stairs, not me and 2 suitcases and all of his stuff and my purse. So we consolidated and they helped, and but anyway, yeah. And I wrote a nasty gram into the company and all this stuff, so. Joe says, how did those folks get around the 80A thing for access without an elevator? The way they got around it is to have staff help you carry your things up. Yeah, that's all they had to do. Once they had staff to help us carry things up, that they were covered. It makes no sense to me. But I actually unofficially talked to an attorney. We were in another state and talked to one who was actually an ADA attorney, or